Hey everyone, welcome to a special bonus episode of Locked On Lakers. Brian Kamenetsky, Andy Kamenetsky. The Lakers keep rolling along. They beat Toronto on Friday, 122-112, and Anthony Davis doesn't have to do much of anything. That's next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks to everybody for making Locked On Lakers your first listen of every day, even Andy on weekends, because that's what this is. This is a weekend bonus episode of Locked On Lakers. Of course, you can also find us on YouTube, a channel with over 13,000 Lakers fans and basketball fans on it. Thank you guys so much for the support of the channel. And I'm sure everybody checking in on this Saturday is excited because the Lakers played a really nice game on Friday night. They beat Toronto 122-112. They moved to within a game of 500, 33-34. And more importantly, Andy, they moved to within a game of the Dallas Mavericks in the 6th spot in the Western Conference. Crazy as it sounds, the Lakers' third straight win. And what was really impressive about this one, Andy, is the Raptors said very clearly, they wrote it, I didn't see their whiteboard, but I'm sure it was on there, Anthony Davis is not going to beat us tonight. Anytime he came near the ball, double team, sometimes even a third guy shading over there. The Raptors challenged the Lakers to beat them with somebody who wasn't Davis, and the Lakers accepted.
Yeah, and there are a lot of things that were great in this night, but I actually want to disagree with you on one part in what you said in the intro. The Lakers did not always play a nice game in this victory. They had 20 turnovers. Okay, they got absolutely shellacked in the third quarter. I believe Toronto opened on like a 17-2 or a 19-2.
The Lakers missed, I want to say, 11 of their first 12 field goal attempts.
Like the Lakers spent a lot of this game, I imagine in part because what you'd mentioned before with Anthony Davis just getting swarmed, and, the guy that has been the focal point of their offense without Anthony Davis all of a sudden not being there, reincorporating D'Angelo Russell back into the mix. Things were actually pretty choppy for a lot of this game, which, by the way, makes it all the more impressive that they still ended up winning by double digits, still ended up getting an incredible return from D'Lo, 28 points, 10 of 17 from the field, 5 of 8 from three, including a couple huge transition threes down the stretch, 9 assists, and then the bench, 16 points from Rui Hachimura, 23 from Dennis Schroder, Austin Reaves with 18 points, 5 assists, and Wenyen Gabriel, his stats don't jump out, but he played a really nice game. This was a game where a lot of guys, and Darvin talked about this after the game, took a huge step forward in that they did not rely on AD to do everything, and they still, again, managed to win by double digits.
Well, yeah, and I, to your point, I've kind of graded style points out from all this, but you're right. There were a lot of turnovers, and that's a thing. And there's no question the Lakers, particularly early, and then I think. So at the beginning of the game, Toronto swarming Anthony Davis, the Lakers have to kind of adjust to that. In the third quarter, I think they came out of the locker room and said, okay, here we go. We'll get AD going here. We got a nice lead. We'll get AD going. And, they fell kind of back into it. But on balance, obviously, you can look at the score of this game and say, yes, it was a good one. And, there were you listed all of those guys with all of those points, and it's because, again, they had 122 of them, and Anthony Davis only had 8. And it wasn't because I think AD was being passive or just wasn't engaged or whatever. He had 9 rebounds, he had 4 block shots. It's because the Raptors, just like they said, somebody else is going to beat us. And we're not going, and they did not let up from that plan, really, ever.
No.
And to their
Nick
credit,
Nurse is known for those type of funky defenses, and they've got a lot of long dudes that they can
Mhm.
put on AD and just, in a lot of ways, just junk it up.
And look, I don't think, the formula for the Lakers is not going to be 5 guys in double digits, none of whom are AD going forward. That's generally speaking not going to be the formula for the Lakers. But what I do think is critical about, like, D'Angelo Russell, if you go through Twitter, catch it on Spectrum Sportsnet, whatever it is, like, talking the level of confidence and excitement that these guys have for this roster right now is through the roof. And when you get a game like this, where everyone else gets to kind of show off their capabilities, and Schroder coming off the bench, you know, played great. The three, the three kind of guard rotation with Reaves, um, Russell, and Schroder, in whatever combination they happen to be on the floor, all did good things individually, good things together. And this sort of win, where you're getting that swagger without AD, because I forget what show it was. It was after probably after Wednesday's game, where we kind of talked about that, like the lift you get as a team from knowing you have that guy on your team. That guy didn't even have to do anything, and so that elevates them in a different way as the Lakers continue to build real momentum in the Western Conference.
Yeah, you referenced D'Lo, and the vocal confidence that's being expressed by these guys, and in particular Russell. After the game, talking with our buddy Mike Trudell, Spectrum Sportsnet, he said, "quote Man, if we get one training camp under our belt with this group, the sky's the limit. With that being said, we don't have a training camp under our belt, and the sky's still the limit." Which predictably, I tweeted that out at Cam Brothers. It would appear that the natives are enjoying that quote. But to D'Lo's point, this was a game where they turned the ball over 20 times, and they were discombobulated a lot because they had to figure out how to do this without Anthony Davis really having any space whatsoever to operate. And, the Lakers are still in a place where they're in an uphill fight. They cannot afford many losses. Like those things that we kept talking about and hammering home after the trade deadline, even with the optimism both of us had very, very strongly about the work Rob Pelinka did reconfiguring this roster. Like, there's still a lot of work ahead. But that being said, the big difference between pre-deadline and where we are now, and I think this was really, really underscored in this game tonight, the Lakers no longer have to play damn near mistake-free basketball in order to give themselves a chance. I'm not saying they can get overly sloppy and win, but before, they really could not afford mistakes. Now they have enough talent on the roster and enough balance and enough skill set where they can be like a normal team. And when you don't have that weight of having to be perfect, you often play better.
Yeah. And, the Lakers, they didn't look good in the third quarter, but that third quarter was primarily failings on the offensive side of the ball. As much, I think they missed 11 of their first 12. It might even been more than that. I think I stopped counting. But they only scored 15 points in the third quarter. You turn the ball over, you only score 15 points. It's actually pretty impressive that Toronto only managed 28. So, Toronto had one 30-point quarter. And they were held to 22 in the fourth. The Lakers have been a top shelf defensive team since the trade deadline. Depending on which metric that you want to use to measure, defense, they've been the best. And they got a really, really good defensive fourth quarter as they overwhelmed Toronto, outscored them by 15 in the fourth quarter. And most of that, by the way, was with Anthony Davis sitting on the bench. He only came back into the game with 5 minutes left. When Toronto shaved, I think, down to like 5 or 6 points. Like, that was real there was a point with, I think, like 6.5, 7 minutes where I assumed Darvin out of a timeout was going to bring AD back in. And he kept rolling with the dudes that built up that lead.
I was just going to say, like,
a
lot of guys, a lot of guys like Austin Reaves, Schroder. I thought Wenyen Gabriel, Jared Vanderbilt, just really disruptive defensively in that fourth quarter. Like, they turned a lot of what Toronto had been doing to them in terms of the fits that they were giving. They just turned it back around on the Raptors. And then, those transition threes, especially, like D'Lo hit a few of them, like those, or the and ones that Russell and Reaves were getting a lot of. Those are the things that just can break a defense. Like just absolutely deflate them.
And the Lakers were very good from 3-point range, over 43%. Russell was 5 of 8 on his own and really shot the ball well in the fourth quarter.
Man.
But Schroder
he's a
was
showman, man. He loves to put on a show. D'Lo.
And I think, but like that's important. Like, and I don't want to make everything. Russell also had 9 assists to get to the 28-9, but like to get to the points that we were making earlier in the week about it's decision makers, it's organizers, it's a different deal with D'Angelo Russell as a real point guard, and he's not even like in the Chris Paul school of point guards in terms of like what, but like he's more of that guy than Schroder is. He's more of that guy than Reaves is. And so just, the difference in the screen and roll action, the difference in all those little things. And, even when D'Lo was kind of throwing the ball early in the game into the fourth row, it just works better. And so you get that back into the offense, and it really makes a huge difference. But, and again, I don't want to make post deadline everything about, Russ was dragging the team down. Russ sucks, Russ, whatever. There is a different energy with these sort of begrudging, I'm gritting my teeth and I'm going to say the right things and I'm going to try to do the right thing. And I do think that's what Russ was generally trying to do for most of the season. Although, the reporting as he was leaving town was that it was starting to fray. But I think he certainly gave it the college try.
Well, I mean, it doesn't look, and I'm not saying this to slam LeBron, but it does not help when Russell is just painfully aware the team leader wants him traded out of here.
It's not about Russ, but you compare the energy and enthusiasm. Russ would bring energy in terms of pace, in terms of getting up and down the floor, but it was an energy with tension. It was an energy with where forces were constantly butting up against each other, intentionally or not, just because of the way that other guys had to play to try to get the best out of Westbrook.
And there was eggshell walking going on in the locker room.
You just don't have that with Russell. You remove that, and you have a guy who can put up points and he's going to be able to stretch the floor. He's not going to shoot 5 of 8 from 3 every night, but he's going to take 8 3-pointers, and you actually are okay with it. And, he's going to space the floor nicely. He's going to orchestrate the offense. Maybe he doesn't get you up and down the floor at the same pace as Westbrook. He doesn't certainly have the Hall of Fame pedigree and all that, but everything makes more sense. And I think this energy comes without the other stuff. And that makes a big difference. And it also allows other people to play in styles that are more built for them as opposed to built for Westbrook. And then final point on this, and I'm basically done, is you mentioned how, the rotation and all that. It's like the Lakers put, I want to say, let me look it back up here again, 10 guys on the floor tonight. 9 guys on the floor tonight. You can argue about where they are, how good are they, this, that, but they were 9 guys who legitimately belong in an NBA rotation. Yeah. If used properly. Wenyen Gabriel, is he a guy you want playing 30 minutes a night? No, but he's clearly a rotation caliber player.
Gabriel's
when put
actually,
in the right role.
I was going to say,
good player.
Wenyen, but specifically, Wenyen has largely been good this year.
Yes.
When able to just play within his lane and not
Correct.
be asked to do anything else. Wenyen's actually been good this year.
Right. And Troy Brown, is he a high? No, but he's shown this year he's playing at he's a legit real live NBA player. And the Lakers put 9 guys on the floor who can do that on a night where your star is bottled up intentionally, and that opens up space for everybody else. It helps to have guys who are capable of taking advantage of that.
And by the way, they'll be getting a 10th NBA player back who is pretty good in his own right, LeBron.
Eventually.
Yeah.
And it's certainly looking more and more like they will, if they can hang on to, those last 4, 5, 6, 7 games, whatever it is, knock on wood, Shams put out, I think it was Woj or Windy. I think it might've been Windy put out, something that like LeBron is doing everything he possibly can to try to figure out a way to get back before the end of the regular season. But the way the idea that the Lakers would be playing relevant basketball with 5 games left, 6 games left, I would say is more probable than it is wishful thinking at this point.
It's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome.
So Sunday, the Lakers get to roll on trying to play. They'll be playing the Knicks at the Crypt before they go on
looking to upstage the Oscars.
Yeah. They go on a bit of a road trip, but it's a road trip that's very winnable. You're talking about New Orleans and Houston, games of the Lakers at this point you would think ought to take, particularly given the injury issues that the Pelicans have. So, Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where we're going to go see all this stuff and participate in the community, and we'll see everybody after Sunday's game. But first, Andy, we want to let people know that today's episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Everybody reaches a time where you need to learn something about yourself, where you need to adjust to different circumstances, where, there's a big life change, something that happens that, you need a little bit of help. You need someone to talk to about it. And therapy it's all about deepening awareness, it's deepening understanding, it's finding about like why you react the way you do to certain things, why you're reacting to this problem that you're having right now, this life change, whatever it might be. I've done it, I know you've done it at different points in our life, and it can be really, really helpful. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible. It's suited to your schedule, which makes it easy to follow through with. It makes it easy to start and work your way towards the ending that you want. All you do is fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and you switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. So discover your potential with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/LockedOnNBA.
Locked On Lakers is also brought to you by Nissan, and Nissan's Most Electric Player of the Week is brought to you by the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, and the award goes to Anthony Davis. We mentioned before, tonight, relatively quiet, but during this time where the Lakers have been pushing themselves into the play-in mix, Anthony Davis has been absolutely electric. He spoiled the return of Steph Curry. He put up 30 and 22 against the Grizzlies, often making it look easy, reminiscent of the smooth, elegant footwork of Pau Gasol, whose jersey was retired that night, but also power and strength, beasting down reboards. He had 9 rebounds in this win against the Raptors. It barely looked like he was trying, but he is still that force down low, and the fiercest version of Anthony Davis could be the difference between the Lakers actually getting a real life big boy playoff spot or missing the play-in altogether. The 2023 Nissan Ariya packs pin you to your seat power and premium intelligence all in one EV, the all-new, all-electric 2023 Nissan Ariya, the EV for people who love to drive. Shop now at nissanusa.com.
All right. See everyone Monday.